There's a hazy, almost mythic quality about country Missouri in the summer. The heat clings to the earth, gravel roads stretch for miles, and the dust flies. And tucked away on the outskirts of New Florence, Missouri, you'll find a unique property, unlike most farms. It's a facility full of snakes. Not just any snakes, snakes valued in the tens of thousands of dollars. Exotic reptiles bred for collectors all around the world in the middle of Missouri. But on June 8th, 2017, that secluded stretch of land became the scene of something much darker. Something that would baffle investigators, grip the nation's attention, and eventually end with a jury delivering a verdict that surprised many. This is the story of Benjamin Ben Renick and his wife, Lynlee. This is Missouri Mayhem, Mystery and Murder. I'm Megan.
And I'm Mindy. Thank you all for joining us today. And a big happy new year to all of our listeners. Now, what year does this case take place, Megan?
2017. And yes, Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year.
And I think we're just going to get into this case pretty
Okay.
quickly because
Okay.
it could be a little bit longer because
Okay.
I'm going to talk about this case and there's some unique things about the trial and the jury. And so I've added a little bit about like how juries impact decisions.
Okay, let's get
So
into it.
let's go. Okay, so just to take you back to 2017, we're not going to linger there in terms of world events very long because honestly, it was a hard time in 2017 in general. If we think about it, again, a lot of political divide still. It was the Me Too movement, the Virginia Tech shooting. I mean, there were a lot of high things volatile things happening that year. But one thing that I remembered and it caught my attention, I was like, oh yeah, that was the year of the total solar eclipse.
Yes.
And so 2017, and I was working as an administrator at an elementary building, and our superintendent at the time was so awesome and made this huge deal of it. And it was kind of stressful, the planning. I remember like, we're doing all this for the freaking solar eclipse.
Yes.
But it was amazing. And the kids loved it. It was like a moment in time they won't ever, they'll remember it forever.
Yes.
Yes, it was so cool.
Yes.
Do you remember where you were?
Oh my gosh. Yes. So I was working at the school I was working at then, and it was a big deal. And we had this outside huge barbecue. And all I did was stand in line for like a long, long, long time trying to get a hot dog. And I had those glasses on.
Yes.
And my memory of that is, and I'm not joking when I tell you this, is I got all the way up after waiting in that line for a hot dog. And they said, we just ran out of hot dogs. And that's my memory of the eclipse.
It's not how cool the solar eclipse was. It's the fact that you can get a freaking hot dog.
And I'm not joking. Like right around the time I didn't get the hot dog is when the eclipse happened. And I was just so upset
About
about
the
the
hot
hot dog that I was like, whatever, eclipse.
Couldn't even enjoy the eclipse.
No,
I'm sorry.
that's okay. They gave me
Wah,
chips
wah.
instead. So yeah, I remember that.
And then about 3 years ago, there was a partial solar eclipse. Do you remember that?
Yes.
I was in my backyard doing stuff, and it was so cool. Yeah.
Yes.
So anyways, I think eclipses are amazing.
They are.
But that was something cool from 2017. So that is when this case takes place. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
2017. Now, I told you this case is going to be all about Ben Renick and his wife, Lynlee. So let's start with Ben. Who was Ben Renick? And um, I will be anxious to see how many people know about this case because in the last year, probably watched 3 documentaries about this on Dateline 2020. So,
I've never heard about this.
okay, I'm so excited. Okay, so I mean, not excited in a good way. You know what I
I
mean?
know what you mean.
Okay.
You're excited to tell me.
Yes. So Ben Renick wasn't just any like hobbyist. As you probably got from the intro, he was huge into reptiles, specifically snakes, and people in
I
the
want to hear more about that.
about all. Just wait. He People in the reptile world called Ben a rock star. Like, and I'm going to tell you why and what made him so special in this area. But I'm like, what the heck makes somebody want? Because I don't love snakes, and a lot of people don't. And I'm like, what? What is
I
it?
hate them.
So does Terry. He
I think they might be the
hates them.
creepiest thing in the whole entire world.
And I'm more towards I don't like spiders more than snakes.
I would hold and cuddle with a spider any day
Seriously?
before
A
I
snake.
touched a snake.
Well, just hold on then,
Okay.
because here we go. Okay, so at a very young age, I looked and it said, Ben at a very young age found reptiles fascinating, which I think so neat. And his brother Sam, who loves to talk about him, said that Ben got his first snake when he was very little. Like he was not like under 10. And like, so he
Yeah.
was interested in it from a lifelong passion. He also grew up on a 72-acre farm in New Florence. I wasn't sure exactly where New Florence was. I had watched the documentaries though, and
Mhm.
it's right outside of Columbia.
Yeah.
So really, really just right outside of Columbia, Missouri. And it's very small. In fact, I don't even know if they have like a school district because the population in 2020 was only 641 people.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's a real small area, and their family owned 2 of those acres in New Florence. And that's where Ben's dad, Frank, owned and operated a pet food company called Spectrum Pet Care Incorporated. So Ben had been around the animal world, and his family had kind of been in that his whole life, pet and animal development. And so it was kind of natural for him to be in that realm
Yeah.
of animals. In 2010, I think Ben was at this age like 20. He was
Okay.
pretty young. But in 2010, Ben started his own business called Renick Reptiles. And he had it in a very nice facility. It was like a barn facility on the family's property in New Florence, that 72 acres. And Renick Reptiles was home to more than how
Oh my gosh.
3,000 snakes.
Okay, so I'm picturing 3,000 snakes in like a barn.
Okay, here's what I wanna and I will show you because I've seen all the police footage of this.
You've seen the snakes?
Yes, I've seen how it was set up, everything.
Okay.
He had it down to a science, so it was very well taken care of, clean. Basically, he had racks and racks and shelves, and each snake was in basically like a big plastic tub
Yeah.
that sat on a shelf, and he had it, like, labeled what it was, when it had been fed, and thousands of snakes, he did this every day. He was doing this with these snakes. And you're like, why would he do this? Who would do this? Well, I'm going to tell you in a minute why. He obviously loved them, but he had a very up and up business. This was
Yeah.
not some shady
Did
backwoods
he feed them
barn.
with, mice?
I don't know. I assume.
Oh,
I don't know.
yeah.
I assume. But this is not, yeah, because when I first thought of a barn full of snakes,
Yeah.
so that's not what we're talking about here. It's like an actual business.
Okay.
And not only did he have more than 3,000 snakes, a big portion of his collection was considered to be called designer ball pythons. So, pythons.
Expensive.
Yes. And he
Like, how
also,
much would a snake
oh,
cost?
just wait.
You're gonna tell me about
Yes, it's
that?
crazy. Yes. So,
Okay.
and why they're expensive. Because,
Okay.
I'm like, why would someone pay this much for a snake? We're going to get into that. So, in just a second, actually. So 3,000 snakes, he emphasized, or his kind of big area that he was known for, he made what are called designer ball pythons. And he also had many massive anacondas that he had there.
Oh my
I know.
god. Could you imagine going to feed one and just one not being there one day?
Seriously. Or I'm like,
I
how
would just be like, "Whoa, we got a problem."
and knowing how to handle them and not get bit or strangled or stuff
Yeah.
like, I mean, and dealing with that, yeah.
I bet he kept antivenom.
Oh, he probably. I mean, and he, like I said, from what the world of snakes said about him, I mean,
The man.
yeah, and he ran a really good business. And not only did he ship in the United States, he had lots of international clients. I mean, he had a legit business. Now, what is a designer snake? Like designer ball pythons. I'm like, I know what a designer dog is,
Yeah.
where you take like two breeds,
Yeah.
put them like
And charge a lot.
and
Yeah.
charge a lot,
Yeah.
yeah, so, like, doodles,
Yeah.
golden doodles and things like that. Well, it's basically the same concept.
Okay.
What they do, he would take all kinds of different breeds of snakes, different breeds of pythons, and he would he would combine those 2 to create a rare genetic
The inner
morph.
interbreed.
Yes. So he's breeding these rare snakes, interbreeding, and he knows how to do it to get these different genetic mutations of their skin and color and their scales and
Okay.
all that. And so, I mean, like,
He's got it down to a science.
oh, and he would create these ball pythons with these cool colors and patterns that nobody in the world was creating. They
Yeah.
said he had a gift for snake genetics. I
Ew.
know. I'm like, that's so cool. They said he had a gift for genetics, and this allowed him to sell to really high profile clients and even internationally. And we'll get more into that in just a
How
second.
do you deliver a snake?
I thought that too. I thought, is
It
he
has you have to drive it,
I
surely.
would think. Now, I mean, maybe there's a business that ships exotic
That's
animals? I
true.
don't know, but yeah, I did not find out about that. But you're right, these are not cheap. So, but don't look. How
Okay.
much do you think, let's say, the average snake from his collection costs?
Okay, well, I'm gonna pretend I'm rich
Oh, yes.
and want a snake like that. $5,000.
Close. 15 to $85,000.
15,000 to 85,000.
This is a legit business. He's not just like, "Hey, I got a snake over here for a couple $100." I mean, he's
Oh,
because
I bet he's sold to, like you said, high profile
he did. He had the pretty much the main, and then we'll talk about this in a minute, but the fact that so right before this incident takes place with Ben,
Mhm.
he was in works to sell a large portion of his collection, over half of his collection, to an NHL, so a hockey league, the National Hockey League, NHL goalie named Robert Lehner. He was in the works to sell a good portion of his collection to him for $1.2 million.
Why the hell would you want $1.2 million worth of snakes?
My guess is, I mean, I assume Robin Lehner, this goalie, is into snakes too. My guess is
Obviously.
he probably wants to do what Ben's doing. Like,
Oh, like,
okay,
I'm gonna take over and do
and
what
just
you're
do it. Yeah.
doing.
Or maybe he's like, I can buy this from you and resell him to
Yeah.
somebody. I don't know. But that was in the works when this incident happened.
There are a lot of other things I'd like to spend
Money.
1.2 million on, I'll tell you that right now.
I bet Ben was like, I'll gladly take your 1.2 million
I
though.
bet
Because
so.
I mean, he probably could have been like regrown his collection fairly easy. You know,
Sure,
he's a
he's like,
master.
I could sell this for 1.2 and redo it."
Yeah. Sadly, after this incident, for years, there are court battles, legal battles about this contract that he was trying to do with this NHL player.
Okay.
It eventually got settled. I do think he ended up this Robin Lehner got the snakes that he wanted, I think. But we'll talk more about that later.
Okay.
Sadly, yeah, that kind of became a mess too after this
Oh,
incident. Yeah.
okay.
All right, let's get into this. You ready? All
Yes,
right.
I'm ready, man.
On June 8th, 2017, Ben's wife, Lynlee, calls 911 to report that her husband was found in the snake facility on their property, face down in a pool of blood. This according to CBS News. She sounded very distraught. She was freaking out. First responders got there fairly quickly. They had their guns drawn, all of them. And it wasn't because they thought there was somebody in there, like a murderer.
It was 'cause of snakes?
Yes. So one police officer said, "I don't care if it's a freaking 5-inch long snake. If something tries to bite me, I'm
I'm
gonna light
sure.
its ass up."
I'm gonna light his ass up.
So, and
I agree with him.
yeah, and obviously you already told me you do not like snakes at all, but, that's what I got the feeling, and again, I watched a lot of documentaries on this, and I heard him say that on his body cam. The police officer, they go into the facility and they have on their body cam video,
Yeah.
and so you get to see that's how I saw the facility.
Wow.
And so you hear him say that. So they've got their guns. They're like, okay.
Just in case.
So Lynlee had called the assistant to Ben. There was a man, I can't remember his name. He had worked with Ben for a while, helped in there, worked there, take care of the snakes. So immediately Lynlee had called him and said, you need to come, make sure that the snakes are out, help us. So he was there looking. They're like, we bet he got bit by a freaking snake or he got strangled by a snake
Right.
or like something's happened here. So
That's what I would think.
yes. Now, before we get too far into what actually happened in there, let's talk a little bit about Ben and Lynlee and their relationship and just
Yeah,
how
let's
did
talk about that.
how did they get here to
Okay.
this moment with Ben laying in a pool of blood?
How did this
How did this happen? So, as teenagers, Lynlee and Ben hung around basically some of the same people, and we can picture that. You live in a little town, there's lots of other little towns around you, you become friends with those
Sure.
people, whether you might play them in sports or friends. So they were in the same kind of groups when they were teenagers, and they became friends, acquaintances, but nothing more than that. They kind of lost touch, and then down the road, a few years later, in 2010, okay, so when Ben was 24, mid 20s, he reconnected with Lynlee somehow, and they ended up dating for about 4 years and got married in 2014. And they were considered to be just the cutest couple.
Yeah.
And if you follow us on Patreon, I'll have pictures, of course, of I'll have a picture of them on there, but just cute,
Yeah.
Missouri couple. One of the big connections that Ben and Lynlee had was that they had both lost their moms at a really young age, and that was something they bonded over very
Yeah.
quickly. They also then, of course, became very close with their fathers in their childhood because that was their only, parent.
Sure.
Again, considered to be sweet kids when they were younger, sweet kids when they were older. Now, as Ben grew his snake business, Lynlee had her own ambitions. From a pretty young age, Lynlee's dad said Lynlee always wanted to be some kind of entrepreneur or own her own business. She just thought that would be so cool to be like the boss.
Yeah.
So, Lynlee, between the time her and Ben had met, she had become a licensed massage therapist and was just working for another company doing that. Well, when she reconnected with Ben in 2010 and they dated and then they eventually married, with his financial help, she opened her own spa in Columbia. I think it was downtown.
Okay.
And she opened it in 2016, so about a year before this incident. And it was called Essentia. You think that's how you say that? Essentia?
Cynthia. Yeah, that's right.
Essentia Spa in Columbia. And again, from the outside, you look, you got this couple, these two wonderful, wonderful husband and wife. They're successful. They both have two businesses. She owns
Let
a
me ask you a
spa.
question.
Sure.
If you met a guy and you liked him and then he told you that he owned a
Snake.
bunch of snakes, would you still be in?
I don't
I
know.
don't know
And then
either.
takes you and is like, "Look at my 3,000
That might
snake
be a deal
facility."
breaker for me, but anyway, it wasn't for
Well,
them. That sounds like
no, I
fun.
think she probably knew he was into that already since they've
My
been
gosh.
friends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but, I mean, he had a cool
She
facility.
probably walked around her house with a gun all the
Oh my
time.
gosh. She helped him.
Yeah.
She
Oh, she
did.
did.
Uh-huh, she
Oh,
did. She
okay.
helped him a little before she opened her spa. She had brought I don't know, do I say that later? But she had brought a son into the marriage from another relationship,
Okay.
and he, from the get-go, considered that son his son,
Okay.
raised him like was his son. They then have a daughter together. So, 2 kids at this point. Now, back to the day in June of 2017. So we kinda see
When
their
he was found
relationship.
dead.
Yes, he's found dead in the snake breeder barn. As the police approach the crime scene, again, they're very worried that he's been attacked by a snake, and they don't wanna get bit. And they think the snake has either strangled him, something. So in this chaos of, "Where's the snake?" and they're walking around, police miss something very important at the crime scene. Any guesses of what that might be?
They missed something at the crime scene because 'Cause
Yes,
they're all freaked out
because
about
they're because
snakes?
they're looking for snakes and thinking that's potentially the culprit.
A gun,
Close.
a
They
weapon,
very
a
close.
knife,
What goes in a gun?
bullets.
Yes. So when the coroner, Dave Colbert, arrives at the scene, the coroner, he notices right above Ben's head, there's a shelf, and there's 3 or 4 shell casings on that
Oh,
shelf from the gun.
from a shotgun.
Yes. And very quickly, the coroner's like, guys, this is not a snake attack. This is now homicide. We have a murder on our hands."
Okay.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I mean, you knew it couldn't have been as simple as them being attacked by a snake, right?
No, right?
Or why would we?
That would have been my first
I
thought.
know. And hope if it
Like,
was gonna be something. I mean, obviously, you don't want anything to happen to him, but it was
no.
like, okay, this has to be an accident.
Yeah,
Well,
but the
very
blood kinda threw me off.
same. I'm like, why would there be so much blood?
If you got strangled by a snake, there'd be no blood.
Right. I mean, unless they ruptured something, but again,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
So, in the immediate aftermath, so again, this has not been too long, maybe an hour, authorities find that Ben has been shot multiple times. Not twice, not 4 times. He's been shot 8
Oh
times.
my gosh.
And one of those was at close range, execution style.
Oh my
It's so
gosh.
sad. And they knew right away this was not an accident. This wasn't like somebody looked like they'd been fighting or an argument and then it turned into an altercation. Something else is going on here. So investigators quickly rule out robbery. The guy that worked with him, he's like, "Nope, every single snake is here."
Oh, they were all
Yep,
accounted
and there was
for?
no
Okay, well,
snake
that's a
out.
relief.
Yes, and no snake had gotten out or been out.
Okay.
So that didn't make a fit for.
So this was not about the snakes.
No, this was not about the snakes. So very quickly, the focus, of course, as always,
The wife?
turns to the family. And, I mean,
Lynlee?
so typically if a spouse is murdered, Who do they look at?
The
The
spouse.
spouse. And so they looked towards someone who they said knows the farm,
I
knows
already
the
know what happened.
facility, knows the family, and would know where Ben would be that morning. Don't look, don't read it.
I'm not reading ahead. I
Okay.
just know I
You just
had
knew
just
it.
have this feeling.
Okay. So I have this feeling. I don't want you to say
I'm
because you're
not, I'm
probably
not,
right.
I'm
You're
not,
probably
I'm
right.
not.
Okay. Now, what the police and the public didn't know when they're at the scene at this moment, and Lynlee's at the scene outside, but what they don't know is going on in Ben and Lynlee's life right now is that, as it goes with these stories or cases, these are not stories, these are real things, that their marriage was not what it seemed from the outside.
Right.
Yeah, not at all. And Lynlee, Lynlee's spa in the first year, Ben had fronted her all this money to start the spa she'd always wanted. Literally, she opened it in 2016. Year later, she is in thousands of dollars of debt. She did not manage it correctly. She didn't manage the money correctly. And not only that, because, I mean, that shit happens.
Yeah.
She was also having extramarital
Ding, ding,
affairs.
ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding, ding. I knew that.
Yes. She had been, I think, stepping out on him, if not once, multiple times. So before police know any of this, they hone in on Lynlee anyways. They don't even know anything. They're just like, okay, this is murder. She called 911. She's our first suspect. So, and again, that is normal.
Yes.
Lynlee vehemently denies. She said, I did not kill Ben, and I did not have anything to do with his death. So early on, they're like, well, will you take a polygraph test? She said, sure, I'm innocent. I'll take a polygraph test. And she failed it. And when
Oh, she failed.
and when asked, did you shoot Ben? She couldn't explain why she failed that question big time. And she still maintained I didn't kill him. Now, investigators keep digging. They're looking for evidence. No gun. Nobody's giving a direct confession. Nobody's coming up and saying, I heard her say something. I know something, like she could have done it. And there's no physical evidence. So, as a lot of these cases go, it kind of went cold for 3 years. Can you imagine?
No, no.
I think if I don't know where a family member of mine is for an hour, I get panicked.
Oh my gosh,
Much
yes.
less, and obviously I mean, he
They
got.
know where he is,
Yes, but
but
but to not know what happened
then
to him for
yes.
even an hour, like, to be able
Mm-mm.
to, I just think, and some wait forever and never get answers,
No.
but they get answers here.
Okay, good.
So, but they do have to wait about 3 years, and again, I just hate that for the family.
Yeah.
Now, prosecutors would argue later that this wasn't like a spur of the moment killing or accident, like Lynlee, like the gun actually went off, or maybe there was an altercation, or they're like, no, we don't think that's what happened. They think Lynlee Renick conspired with two others, a friend of hers and an ex-boyfriend, to murder her husband. Over the course of the investigation, law enforcement
I'll give
learned.
you a snake.
I'll give you a snake. Law enforcement learned three important things about Lynlee.
Okay.
First thing, which does not look good, is she stood to gain $1 million from a life insurance policy that Ben had. Those freaking life insurance
Oh, I'm
policies.
telling you.
She also feared.
I hope Ross doesn't kill me.
Terry always says he'll like have a bad belly one night. He'll be like, "You're not poisoning me, are you?"
Right? Well, at least if I die, you get money. Ross will say that. I'm
Really?
like, dude, I don't want you to die.
Right, you'll be fine if I die. Don't say
I
that.
know. I
Don't. Don't say that. Don't put that. Yeah. So she also feared that they said if she divorced him, or they divorced, that she wouldn't get the kids because she's having extramarital affairs
all that would come
financially.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's like, if we do get divorced, and there were text messages that the police found that connected Lynlee to her ex-boyfriend. His name is Michael Humphrey, and they had text messages between those two in the days leading up to the murder. That doesn't look good. Now, there's three things that typically drive killing and murder: money, sex, and drugs. Isn't that awful?
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll,
Yeah.
man.
I'm like, people die
Over the
over those three things.
and they're yes.
You
Yeah,
know,
they do all the time.
all the
Think
time.
about all the cases we do.
It's usually one of those three things.
It usually is.
Yeah. So, yeah. Now, what's going to happen is 3 years later, something happens that nobody expected and they're super happy about, but it kind of pisses me off. So in 2020, so now we're 3 years later, someone comes forward, someone who worked with Lynlee at the spa. And she says, oh gosh, Lynlee did ask me one time if I could get enough prescription pills to kill her husband. 3 years later,
What?
why in the world did it take her 3 years to come forward?
That is well, was she being threatened by Lynlee?
Okay, so we're going to get more information here in a minute, but I'm listening to a current podcast that is like this, that people had all kinds of information that they held on to for years. And I get it. Most of them have been threatened with
Yeah,
their life
and
or
family.
will pin something on you, will put you in jail falsely, so I get that. But this poor family has sat here for 3 years and
You
this
know
girl's
this
been that
information?
that even if
That would just
she
eat you
didn't,
up every night, like, how
yeah,
would you sleep?
yeah, and even, even if you didn't think Lynlee did it, like, you're like, "I really don't think she did kill," she still made that comment, which is suspicious.
Yeah.
So you should, yeah. Now, after learning about, um, this prior murder attempt is what police are calling it, they're saying, "Oh, so she tried to kill him with prescription pills first? Did she try to do that and it didn't work, and then she shot him? Like, what's going on here?"
Yeah.
Prosecutors, in fact, would later argue that, oh, sorry, that's repeat. Hold on. Let me get to the right place. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, here we go.
I wonder what they
Police,
did with all the snakes.
I know that, and I'll tell you.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I do know that. Now, police also got the details of the previous murder attempt. So
Okay.
they assumed that when they got this person to say, like, they're like, so maybe she really did try and kill him, and it didn't work.
Right.
Well, prosecutors later disclose that prior attempt to kill him had happened the month before.
Oh, the prescription pills?
Correct. Lynlee had gotten 15 Percocets from this friend at the spa.
Oh, that's why.
That's why
That's
she didn't
why.
come forward.
That's
Yes.
why.
But it didn't kill him. It just made him very, very sick. And they have testimony from family. Yes, Ben was so sick about a month ago, all of a sudden, for no reason. Well, she tried to kill
Oh
him,
my gosh.
according to prosecutors. In court, another critical detail emerged. According to an appellate brief, Lynlee had allegedly asked her friend, Ashley Shaw, which is the friend from the spa,
That is her.
yes,
Okay.
to help poison her husband. And when that didn't work, that's when Ashley and Lynlee enlisted the help of Michael Humphrey, who was Lynlee's ex-boyfriend, who ultimately provided them the gun.
So how many people are involved in this
3.
now?
Michael Humphrey,
Ashley.
yep,
Okay, Michael Humphrey,
who's the
Lynlee,
ex-boyfriend, Lynlee,
and Ashley.
yes, and she's a friend of hers from the spa. So she's
And she's
gotten
the one that waited 3 years
correct to say anything.
and had the pills.
Correct, and gave her the 15 Percocet. She better be damn glad Ben didn't die of those Percocet.
Oh,
She'd be in jail right now
she's
for the
not in
rest of her
jail?
life. Well, we'll talk about where she's
Okay,
at.
sorry.
No, I know.
She should be in jail.
I know. Well, just wait. And then, of course, then when the poisoning didn't work, they called Michael and he provided them with a firearm, supposedly. Now, this was a pivotal moment because the prosecution up to this point had nothing to really evidence-wise go on. Now, though, from what they're hearing, this is not, again, not a random act. This was premeditated, plotted murder.
Murder.
Yes, murder. So, Lindsay is arrested once these once Ashley comes forward and gives her information. Police
Okay.
start digging and they arrest Lynlee.
Okay.
So she is in jail, and this is in 2020. She's in jail for about a year, waiting for her trial. On December 6, 2021, Lynlee Renick's trial started in Boone County. Now, New Florence, Missouri, is in Montgomery County, but it is such a small county and everybody knows each other that they're like, there is no way we can have a court hearing here. Because what I read up to this point, the town was very split on whether or not people believed Lynlee had anything to
Oh,
do with
okay.
this.
And it was a really little town.
Yes, and so they moved it to Boone County.
Okay.
Shout out to my Boone County peeps. I know a lot of people. We got family in Boone County.
Yeah.
Spencer's
There you go.
in-laws, so and all of them. So shout out to that fam.
Yeah.
But in opening statements, prosecutors describe a woman who plotted to murder her husband to escape a failing marriage, financial trouble and was hoping she could collect that insurance money.
Mhm.
Defense attorneys for Lynlee said, no, Lynlee did not kill her husband. And if you read or listen, to the 911 call, she's hysterical. You can tell. Well,
So what? You can
acting.
fake
Yeah.
that.
Now, state witnesses, including Ashley Shaw, she gets on the stand during the case and she says, Lynlee confessed to us. She discussed plans to poison and then kill Ben with a gun. Like, she did this.
And you didn't tell
Exactly,
Ashley.
Ashley. Now, perhaps the most dramatic moment of the entire trial wasn't Ashley's evidence, which was very, you know, damning to Lynlee's case. Lynlee decides, I'm going to get on the stand and testify. And, now that we do a lot of this investigating and I've watched a million 2020s and Datelines, like 99.9% of the time, criminal attorneys say, no, my client is not getting on the stand. You are not
Right.
testifying.
Right.
It just leaves them up to too much scrutiny.
Yeah.
And then the
They're
prosecutor.
too vulnerable.
Yeah, and if you say one thing that can be misconstrued. So
Mhm.
again, contrary to most criminal defendant attorneys who say don't, Lindley's like, no, I'm getting up there. I'm innocent. I don't have anything to hide. I'm
Is
gonna
that how
get.
she sounded?
Well, basically, she took the stand to testify, and when she did, she didn't just again continue to deny being the murderer. And this part is very upsetting to me, and I'll say that in a minute. What she says on the stand, I can't imagine being Ben's parents. Your son has been murdered. And
Yeah.
now your daughter-in-law is on the stand not only saying, well, she didn't do it, but he was very abusive to me, not just like with words. He beat me and he sexually abused me.
Oh gosh.
So, and not only did she say this happened, she offered vivid details about what he did. Now, Ben's dead and cannot stick up for himself at this point.
Right.
And I don't want to say whether or not this happened because I don't know. But here's what
Right.
I think is if she got up there and made this up to get sympathy from the jury, that is awful.
That is
Awful.
terrible.
And if it did happen to her, that's
It is
awful.
awful.
And so I'm
Yes.
like, either way, it is terrible. But
Yes. Mhm.
I lean towards the side this is a sympathy poll for the jury.
Yeah.
So, not only now is she up there claiming her innocence, she's up there destroying his character, and he's
Oh,
dead.
and his parents were just sitting there having to listen to all of it.
And they said this was a pivotal moment in the courtroom that really divided observers. Some people saw a woman trying to like humanize herself because she was under so much scrutiny and like being accused of murder.
Yeah.
Others thought the testimony really hurt her credibility. Like she looked
Oh.
like a liar, like you're making up shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So again, split. Now, according to court reports, here is what is actually believed to have happened
Okay.
on that day in June 2017. According to testimony, Lynlee enlisted her ex-boyfriend, Michael Humphrey, to accompany her to the facility that morning. She knew Ben would be there working.
Yes.
While they both continued and still continue to blame each other about who
Still?
pulled the trigger. Yes. He claims she pulled the trigger. She claims he did. The jury believed Humphrey's account, Michael's, that Lynlee shot him.
Okay.
He says, I just provided the gun and gloves for Lynlee and was there with her in case things didn't go well. But I did not pull the trigger. Now, to me, he's just as guilty as her.
Absolutely.
He provided the gun, all that. Now, here's where Ashley really came in and why she probably didn't come forward. Not only did she give the 15 Percocet to try and kill Ben, she also helped her create an alibi by keeping her phone at the spa while she went to New Florence.
So it would look like her.
And
Oh.
then Ashley would text Lynlee from her phone, and then she'd take Lindley's phone and text back, like they were at the
Oh
same
my
place. So
gosh.
she is guilty of coming up with this whole cover story.
Yes.
Now, again, to make it appear that Lynlee was at the spa, not there.
Right.
I was shocked. It was only a 4-day trial.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's pretty short.
Quick.
Yeah. Evidence is presented, witness after witness. Again, we've got attempted poisonings, conspiracies, lies, betrayal. And the jury, again from Boone County, deliberated for 12 hours.
Do you think that's a long time?
I don't. Now, typically they say like if it comes back within a few hours, it typically goes towards
Guilty.
or yes, guilty, like yes. And if it goes longer, then they're having trouble the jury's having
Without a
trouble.
doubt.
Yes, and all trying to get the majority and,
Mhm.
like, they're trying to convince each
Yeah.
other or
So the
what.
longer it goes on, the better chance you have of getting off.
Right. So to me, 12 hours is better than, like, 4 hours, but
Yeah.
it's still it's a, decent amount of time. So on
Yeah.
December 9th, 2021, verdict comes back, guilty. Guilty of second-degree murder, not first, and armed criminal action. Now, the jury, for some reason, only recommended 13
Oh
years.
my god.
13 years,
For murder.
which makes you wonder if they didn't believe a little bit her abuse allegations.
Okay.
I don't know. Like,
That
to
could
me,
be,
if you
yes.
thought she had absolutely no reason to be scared of him or anything, why would you not give her life?
Why
She murdered him.
you're right, I bet they did. I bet they thought, "Well, if she did have to go through
That
that, then we're gonna make it a lesser sentence, and then we'll feel better about that part of it."
She did have 2 young kids, very young kids at this time. I think she pulled that card a
Mhm.
lot. On January 24, 2022, the Boone County judge sentenced Lynlee to 16 years. There were 3 years added for the armed criminal action. And
And just
again,
think, Ryan Ferguson did 10 years and didn't even
yes,
do anything.
nothing. Ugh, that's another case I'm listening to right now about a guy who's in jail and is totally innocent. He's still in jail. It's so sad. It just so sad. But there's a guy advocating on
Mm,
this podcast for him. But those things, yeah, can you imagine?
no.
So I love what the judge says to her. So he says, I'm giving you 16 years because that's what the jury agreed to. But ma'am, you're awful lucky. You're going to get out of jail in your 40s. I just hope you don't kill someone else.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh!
so he didn't like it either. He's like, "No," but he had to go with what the jury decided,
Sure,
you know?
sure.
That was the most he could give. So I liked that he was honest.
Yeah.
And with that, the courtroom, of course, fell
Mm.
silent, particularly Ben's brother, Sam. He kind of represented the family, and from what I've read, his impact statement had a huge impact.
Yeah.
They give those at the end and basically say how this event has
Yeah.
run their life. And Sam delivered a really heartfelt statement. He said, there are a lot of victims in this, and the web of devastation travels far. Not just Ben's family and the kids, Lindley's family, friends,
This was
everybody.
all about money and sex
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and some snakes.
And some snakes. And he asked that his brother's remains be returned to the family and said that this whole web of lies thing and all these people lying, that this was just created wounds that we're not going to heal from. I mean, I just can't even imagine.
No.
Now, my first thought is, well, Lindley got 16 years and she is up for probation in 2034. 9 years. She gets to try and get out.
She won't get out.
No. And if I'm Ben's family, I'm there at that probation
I'm
meeting.
there.
Yes.
Yes.
So Michael Humphrey, this is crazy. He was convicted of first-degree murder. Even
First degree?
first degree, later reduced to second degree because he cooperated with the police and helped them find the murder weapon. He was still given a life sentence,
And she wasn't.
16 years.
That's crazy.
I know. I don't understand that. I don't. Yeah, he's life in prison. He does have the possibility of parole, but not till he's much older. Yeah, so crazy.
It's crazy the judge can't just say, "You know what? That's bullshit. You're doing life. I'm
Yes.
overriding the whole entire jury here." Why
Yeah.
can't they do that?
Well, I don't know. I have personally never been a
So what's the
juror.
purpose of the judge? I mean, I
Yeah,
understand he's there to conduct the lawyers and make sure
yeah.
everything's but
Well,
if you're not making a decision, it
I think what it does is if he has the right to override the 12 people that have been picked to make this decision,
mhm.
it's like, why have the
Why
jury?
do the yeah. And I
Which,
get why they have juries.
well, yeah, I've never done jury
Mm.
duty. Have you?
No, I've been called
Me
and
too.
then I've been sent a letter and then I called and they said, you have to come in, but that's
Yeah.
it.
I went
You would
to
probably like jury
I
duty.
want to do jury
I
duty.
know
Isn't
you
that
do. I know
terrible?
you
I
do.
just number 1, I think it's my civic duty type of thing, and I'm
Yeah.
also like, I was called once. I won't say where or anything about it,
Yeah.
but I was called once, showed up, about 60 of us, the pool jurors to be picked from, and I look around and I see a couple people I know. Then I look up and see the defendant up at the thing, and I'm like, "Oh, shit, I know that kid.
Oh,
I know
I
that
can't
kid."
do this.
Yeah, and so no. So I immediately there and I knew the prosecutor. I had worked with her on some child situations at school,
Oh,
and so
okay.
yeah, so I'm like
Nope.
and it was funny because the prosecutor's like, "Hi, Megan." I'm like, "Yeah, just cross my name off,
Yeah,
please.
you and me
Yes.
already know
I'm
I
like,
can't
but
do
I
this.
really was hoping I'd
Yeah,
get picked. But
yeah.
anyways, Terry has been, and he said he never wants to get picked again.
Oh, he did
His
it?
was a child abuse
Oh
case,
gosh,
and so it
okay.
was very, very tough, and dad had to do that once too. It was a child abuse case.
Oh
It was a kid
gosh.
who'd been, critically injured at a daycare.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, I
so
didn't know about that.
that's tough. So, what about Ashley?
Yeah,
Ashley
what about
Shaw.
Ashley?
Oh, Ashley didn't get any jail time.
Nothing.
Nothing. She did a plea agreement. She did an immunity deal, of course, with the police, in exchange for her full cooperation and testimony. She gave her Percocet. She'd kept her phone. She could have stopped this at any minute.
Well, and she withheld information for 3 she was aiding
Yes.
and abetting. Isn't that how you
Yes.
say that?
Yes. I'm like, come on. But the state agreed not to charge her. So, and again, her admitted involvement, she said, I provided the Percocet pills that, again, didn't work. And she also admitted the alibi. She had her phone there and helped send the text messages. And she also admitted into helping Lynlee find and recruit ex boyfriend Michael Humphrey. I mean, she was
She
in it
helped.
just as much as they were.
I feel like she's just as equally as guilty as of murder as the 2 of them.
Absolutely. Said despite her admitted participation in planning and covering this up, her testimony was considered the star witness criteria. You know, like we got our
Yeah,
star witness.
yeah.
And so they had to secure their witness. And okay, so we got about, this has gone about 40 minutes. So do you mind if I take like 10 more minutes real
No,
quickly? Okay.
no.
I know we don't want them to be real long, but I thought this is fascinating because let's talk a little bit about the role of the jury in this case
Okay.
because we are frustrated at how many years she got.
Yes.
So were they influenced by the abuse allegations? How does a jury, and again, I've never been a juror, so I don't know. So I,
Right.
I thought this was interesting. So what does a jury really do? I mean, we know that, but a jury doesn't just answer the question. Like they're not trying to figure out like what happened here. They're trying to figure out whose story do I believe?
Yeah.
Not like, okay, I just need the timeline here. Like, wow, they're really convincing or they're not convincing.
Yeah.
Jurors are instructed to follow the law, to weigh the evidence, to be objective, but we're all human beings. We all make judgments, we all make assumptions. We bring our experiences, we bring things that have happened to us.
Sure.
Maybe the defendant looks like someone that hurt us.
It could be anything.
Yes, I mean, once you understand that, the verdict starts to make a little bit more
Yeah.
sense because, again, you have emotions. Now, why defendants rarely testify? Again, I think it's obvious, but let's just talk about that for a minute. Again, most murder suspects do not take the stand, not because they're automatically guilty, because the psychology of what happens on the stand when a witness takes their seat
Yeah.
can unravel anyone.
Yes.
Even a person who, like, do you know, did Ryan Ferguson take the stand?
I don't know.
Because I would have wanted to if I were him, but it could have hurt his case more.
Well, yeah.
So it's like
It's a risk.
if you're and I think she thought if I get up there, I'm gonna look innocent. If I
Yeah.
take the chance to get up there, like they know I shouldn't be, but I'm innocent. So why wouldn't I get up there?
Right.
So it's so confusing. There's so much psych that goes with
I
it.
mean, if someone were accusing me of a murder and I did not do it, I think I would want to take the stand to
Yes.
explain that I have nothing to do with it.
Yes. I
So
would
they could hear it from me and understand with my emotions and my voice and everything that I'm innocent.
1000%. Exactly. Like I want you to see the real tears in my eyes and what this has done to me.
Mhm.
But, some people aren't good at talking in front of other people or
Yeah.
showing their emotions.
Mhm.
Or maybe the way they cry looks fake, but it's not fake.
Right. Make
So,
it worse.
there's when I started going down this rabbit hole of jury and how they make
Yeah.
it was like, oh my gosh. So, again, not because they're guilty, but they just, yeah, they're like, you don't unless you have been a witness in a trial, you don't know what it's like to be up
No.
there to be questioned like that.
No.
So the moment a defendant testifies, the jury stops just evaluating the evidence and what's in front of them. They start evaluating them as a human being now when they're on the stand. If you're going to open your mouth and start saying things, you've opened it up for me to now start evaluating you as a human being.
Yes.
Are you likable? Do you seem defensive? Are you cocky? Are you
Yeah.
too calm? Are you too emotional?
Yeah.
Why'd you
I'm
cry?
gonna judge every aspect of what you're saying.
And we all know there's no, like, right way to grieve,
Right.
and there's no perfect way to, like, claim your innocence,
Yeah.
and the jurors know that. But jurors don't always sit in their mind and go, "Man,
And
that guy seems really cocky. I
and
think he will hold on, let me think about the
and here's another
psychology."
thing. Okay, so for instance, when the attorney will say, "Okay, blah 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 blah," and the judge says, "No, we're not." I forget the wording, but
Oh, where they
just
object or whatever.
object that comment.
Yeah.
How do you get rid of those words you just heard if
Yes.
you're a juror when you just heard that and you're like, "Oh my gosh, that's hardcore." Like that could make the case, but you're told to pretend that that
Act
didn't
like they
happen.
didn't say that. Act
That's
like they did.
to me,
Yes.
that's crazy.
Or a witness or the defendant or whoever, like, one of the people involved in the case will have, like, an emotional outburst or something, and they'll be like,
Yeah.
"Act like that didn't happen." There's no, because I've seen that on thing.
You need to
Act like
pretend
they
like
didn't just do that. Well, I
you
just saw
can't tell me that sometimes they're not sitting there going, "But you guys, he said that."
ser
I know, but we can't we have to
it's the
pretend.
law.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. Now, when Lynlee Renick takes the stand, something shifted, kind of, they said, in the courtroom. You could feel the shift kinda when she took the stand, and not legally, emotionally. Again, this isn't just about, well, here are the text, here's the timeline, here's the shell casings. This became then about Lynlee
Yeah.
and her moment on the stand. Juries listening very closely to her voice, her posture. When she pauses, she admits to them, I lied. You're right, I did. I was scared. He's abusive, physically, mentally. And she just, again, she was up there for 5 hours. 5 hours of listening to this person talk. She was very passionate. She was very emotional. And she framed her behavior as, I'm fearful. Not that I wanted to kill somebody. I was very fearful for my life.
Mhm. Yeah.
Now the jury has a totally new job. They aren't having to decide whether or not the evidence fits and the timeline fits. Now they're like, well, shit, do we believe what she just said or not?
Yeah.
Is this
How did
true?
that feel?
Yes.
Does it feel true? Yes.
And you may have women in the jury who have been physically or sexually abused. And someone just mentioning that triggers something in them
Mhm.
for good or for not good.
And then what if they say to the rest of the jurors, "Well, hey, this happened to me." So
Exactly.
and then the jurors influencing the other jurors.
Yes, that's like, yeah, them influencing each other. Yeah. Now, here's kind of the uncomfortable truth. Jurors are constantly reading body language,
Yeah.
even if they don't take the stand, of
I
course.
would
I
too.
would too. You're reading the body language of everyone, and they're told not to do that because people,
It's almost like pretend like that elephant didn't just walk from the room. I just want you to pretend that that didn't happen,
right,
but it did.
banish that from your mind.
Yeah.
Well, I can't do that. Research shows jurors, I thought this was interesting. Jurors form impressions within minutes. Of course, we all do. That is, I mean, we all, the minute you see someone, you make an assumption.
I read something that said within 5 minutes of meeting someone, you really know what's up.
Right. You
You
get a
do.
feeling
Yeah.
one way or the other. And those first impressions are hard to undo,
Mhm.
especially in a high sensitive case like
Yeah.
this. If a defendant avoids eye contact, then jurors may think they're guilty. They won't look at me. They
Yeah.
won't look at the judge. If they maintain eye contact with a juror might be like, well, they're cocky. They
Yeah.
sure are brazen to stare me down. And if they cry, are they being manipulative or are these real fears? If they don't cry, wow, they're cold and unemotional.
Yeah.
So it's all over the place. It's a psychological trap, and defendants that take the stand almost always lose. It
I didn't
doesn't
know
help them.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't usually help them. In her testimony, jurors had two competing narratives, a woman claiming she's abused, and she also admitted she lied. So is she lying about this too? Or was that just the one lie to
Right.
cover up? Because psychologically, lies poison credibility.
Yeah.
If you've lied once, then you may be lying now.
Right.
But we also know people lie all the time because they're scared.
Yeah.
They don't know someone's threatened them.
Yeah.
We don't know. Now, once jurors think, okay, she lied to the police, the question becomes, well, when has she lied? When is she lying? Is all this a lie? Is some of it a lie? It's not why so much she lying, but like, what do we believe?
Right.
Yeah. And you think these are heavy questions for 12 everyday people off the street to make.
Right.
You're making a life decision for everyone
And I
in
was
here.
handpicked
Yes.
to do this
Yeah,
job,
and that's where
and
I
it's a job.
oh, yeah. Yeah, it
You
is.
have to take off of your regular job and go do that, and don't they pay you
Yeah,
something?
not much, but
Ain't
yes.
much.
I mean, but yes, they do. Have you ever seen this is a little off, but it's not. There was a reality show on Amazon Prime called Jury,
No.
and what they did it was hilarious. Just the synopsis, if you haven't seen it, you need to. It's about, an LA jury that's picked. So all these people it starts with all these people in this room, and they're waiting to get picked for jury duty, and one of the it's in LA, one of the people in there for jury duty is James Marsden. He's an actor, a famous
Okay.
actor, and basically what's happening is one guy out of, like, 50 people in this room has no clue that this is a setup.
Oh my
He
gosh.
thinks he's really there for jury duty. And it's they get sequestered because it's like a
Uh-huh.
2-week long. They get their phones taken away from them. They're sequestered, and basically, he's filmed for the whole 2 weeks. James Marsden's trying to do all this stuff to make him mad or get him upset.
Oh
He's the
god.
nicest guy. He ended up being the jury foreman. He was so stressed. He had people fighting,
Did he
and
get money for that?
he ended up becoming super famous because
Oh,
he ended up
okay.
being this such a nice guy.
Right.
And because I'm like, how did they legally do that? Film him without his knowledge.
Right, that's what I was just
So
thinking.
did afterwards, he was like,
A good
"Okay, it's
payoff.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can release it." It was he portrayed himself in a very good
Yeah,
light.
what if they would have done the whole thing and he'd been like, "Oh, hell no."
Or he'd been like some wackadoodle person
Yeah.
who'd made all these weird comments or done weird
Yeah.
things.
Right.
You're like,
That is a good thing to
"It
watch.
is."
That's
I
interesting.
think it's called Jury. Anyways, okay, back to this. So why or excuse me, the why jurors care about. So prosecutors talk motive, defense attorneys talk kind of more like context of, and jurors, of course, are constantly just trying to figure out what does this mean to this case? What's
Megan,
the
I
meaning?
think you missed your calling.
In what?
You should have been an attorney.
Oh boy, I don't know. I thought of that. I thought, gosh,
I
can you
could go back to school and be an
oh, at
attorney.
50, I'm gonna become an attorney. But I do when I
Well, then I'm
watch,
gonna go back and be a doctor.
hey,
Let's do
we
it,
can do anything we want.
and we'll podcast the whole thing.
There you go. Our whole journey to being an
And a
doctor.
doctor.
Um, okay, so I do think lawyers are fascinating. It takes a lot to be able first of all, I think criminal defendant lawyers that have to take on these
That
clients
is
they know are guilty. Can you
hardcore.
imagine? I
No.
can't yeah. So, okay, again, jury wants the story to make sense. And in their mind, they're like, okay, she had $1 million to gain. She was worried about losing her kids. The marriage was unhappy. But the ideas created kind of in a juror's mind, it's like they're all over the place. So then, like we said, they go in the room, they've had all this information dumped on them. And then they're like, well, wait a second. Again, you're talking about normal people off the street, and you're trying to figure out police lingo.
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out like law. I mean, really, it's a big job for 12 people who know nothing about potentially the legal system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, anyways, okay, so inside a jury room, psychology again takes over. And the first vote when they get into the jury room to make the
Mhm.
decision, there's a lot of research out there. The first person to vote matters.
Big time.
Yes. So the first person to speak up
Oh,
matters.
boy.
The strongest personality in the
They
room,
follow suit.
yes, matters. If you have someone who's very outspoken, it matters. And everybody, of course, knows we have to be
There's always typically a leader in the room
yes.
too.
Because you have the jury foreman, but even a lot of times the jury foreman's not the biggest personality. So then
Right.
you have someone who's supposed to be the foreman who's kind of supposed to be in charge,
Yes.
but you have these outspoken people. So again, it is fascinating to me. Studies show that once a majority leans one way early, so if they get in there and within, very quickly, 10 out of 12
Yeah.
think they're guilty, that the people who don't maybe think they're guilty then feel the pressure.
The other 2.
Yes, the other 2 that are holding out, but number 1, they feel pressure, but they also kind of feel power in that,
Yeah.
and that's kind of crazy.
That's bad.
Like, "Oh, I have the power to change someone's life
Life.
negatively."
Yes.
Yes, negatively,
Ugh.
and, I mean, we're just wired to agree. Like, people we're told, like, "Let's get along. Let's"
Yeah.
so, again, people who maybe are holding out and don't believe the same as everyone else. I mean, how passionate do I get about this? how much am I gonna push my point?
Right.
Or am I just gonna be like, "Fine, majority feels
Am
that
I
way.
just tired and done? And
Do I just wanna go home?"
at this point, yes,
But that person sitting out there, their life.
is in your
Yeah.
hands.
So I just think this whole concept of a jury is interesting. And
It
again,
is. And the
um
judge not being able to override the jury.
right. And here's why abuse claims are so complicated for jurors when people claim they've been abused. When a defendant claims abuse, jurors face what we consider like an internal conflict because they know abuse exists and it
Yeah.
happens all the time and people lie about it or people hide it,
Yeah.
but they still believe it didn't justify murder. Even if you were physically and sexually abused, you should have reported that, gone through the proper chains. So people are like, this is awful, but not murder. And if the abuse claims emerge after all the lies that she's already told,
Yeah.
then they may see it as an explanation or an excuse. So again, it's constantly 6-7.
Oh my gosh.
It's kind of this or that. You know
Is
what
that
I
what
mean?
that means?
Yes, like
Oh my
it's
gosh.
kind of six.
I did not know.
Well,
I had a kid one time.
oh gosh.
I think it was the last time I subbed, and he goes, "Say 6'7",
And
and
you're
I was
like,
like, "I don't know
no,
what that means, and I'm not saying that."
no.
There's so many reasons why I don't
Oh,
substitute teach anymore.
say 6-7. No. Um,
No, and sit down.
the way I've been told, which probably isn't right, it means like, I don't know, 6-7, this or that.
I thought it meant you were 6'7".
Well, I only know one person that's
That's
tall,
yeah.
that is that tall. So, again, um, psychology doesn't reward late revelations. So if she would have told that she was being if she would have said the minute she was interviewed, "He was sexually abusing me, physically abusing me," that would have had a larger impact than, of course, her saying it after she'd
Well,
lied.
how about after you shoot him, you call the police and say he was getting ready to beat my ass and I shot him,
Right, if
and
that's what's
that's
really
it, and
happening,
that's what happened, and that's that.
that's then, I mean, and again, because it all gets out in the beginning, there's no shadiness, no yeah. Now the sentencing phase, guilt and punishment, they say research says when you think about the guilt of someone and punishing someone, your brain does these weird things. They said it activates kind of a different part in your brain because jurors who convict someone can still be empathetic.
Yeah.
I can still say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I think that happened to you, but you weren't
Mhm.
justified in murdering him.
Right.
But I have to punish you."
Yeah.
So it's again conflicting. In this case, the jury gave the maximum they could. I mean, that's how you get verdicts with maximum sentence recommended. So somebody in that jury room believed she probably was being abused.
Yep, I bet you're
And
right.
that's why she got,
16
yes,
years,
not
yeah.
life, not more. And again, that choice reflects judgment and maybe
Mercy,
mercy.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, whether or not it was intentional. Now, the last voice matters too. The first voice in the jury room matters. The last voice in the
Wanna
courtroom.
be in the middle.
Yeah, in the courtroom, the last person that talks before kind of everything wraps up,
Okay,
because that's the lasting impression.
okay, yes.
So at the sentencing, Ben Renick's brother spoke, Sam. We talked about him earlier. And in that moment, the psychology flips again. So the jurors' brains are flipping again. Oh, we thought maybe she was being abused and we gave her 16 years.
Mhm.
Jurors and judges stopped thinking about who lied. And then they were focusing on Ben. Who's gone here? Who got murdered and killed? Ben did. Let's get back to that. Someone's dead here. So,
Yeah.
victim impact statements really do anchor the loss and make the jury, but they've already made their decision. So, it's
Yeah.
too late after that point. So, I've seen jurors that have been interviewed afterwards and they're like, gosh, I wish we would have given that person life. Oh,
Really?
or we sentenced this person to life and they were innocent. Can you
Uh,
imagine being on Ryan Ferguson's jury
no.
and thinking, I sent someone to jail for
I got how did we all get talked into
to
that?
this,
Yeah,
and if in your mind you had doubts to start with,
and oh
and you would let
gosh.
them push you
I
into
don't
it.
ever wanna be in the jury.
Oh, no, 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 no. So Sam's, impact statement was very, very moving. The Lynlee Renick trial reminds us of some unsettling things. First of all, as we know, courtrooms don't run on truth alone.
No.
And we see that all the time. They run on perception. What are people perceiving is happening at that moment? They're looking for stories they feel are complete and they have a beginning, middle, and end,
Yeah.
and it all wraps up. And we know these stories are not like that. Also, explanations. They're looking for explanations from witnesses that satisfy a human need of meaning. Like, what does this mean? Oh, that means that.
Yeah.
And so jurors, again, don't decide whether someone's perfect. They're just deciding, who do I believe?
Yeah,
It's
I
literally that.
have to vote.
I have to make a decision. Do I believe this person? Do I believe this? This is a tragic story, of course, of betrayal, lies, greed, and Ben Renick's life was ended in a place he loved.
And I just have a feeling she did not get
I
beat.
don't think, I mean, there is
I
no
mean, maybe
evidence
she
of that,
did,
but
but
and
I
they
I think she just had a
she
boyfriend.
they said, she described the abuse in detail, and how sick is that if it didn't happen?
Well, it's sick because she sat and made up the whole thing very vividly.
Yeah, and that made the jurors have more sympathy for her.
Yeah,
Hearing details,
which is
like,
why she may have wanted to be put on the stand.
so this is a case of where a defendant taking the stand might have helped her.
Yeah,
It probably got her a less sentence.
yeah,
It really did, is what they're saying.
yeah,
Now, while Lynlee Renick will spend years behind bars, there are still a lot of questions when it comes to our judicial system. And is it fair? And how it's set up? And how we decide if someone's guilty? And not just in Missouri, across the United States.
yeah,
There are so many corrupt judges, police officers, attorneys, people. And so, I don't know, those who have had to deal with that,
yeah,
I I am sorry, and I hope things can get better for you. But yeah, it's, again, to me, the whole psychology of a jury
yeah.
is fascinating.
Like
But
how it ever was developed in the first place.
yeah, and you guys, thanks for hanging with me for that last rant. I just
Yeah,
found
it
it
was interesting,
interesting.
Megan. It
Yeah.
was.
So
I learned something, and
yeah, I do you want to just say a quick prayer for Ben and even
sure,
of course Lindley's family and their
sure,
children? Yes.
absolutely.
Awesome.
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just want to come to you today on this rainy afternoon, Lord, and we just want to bring Ben Renick's family to you, just the whole everyone involved in the case, Lord, and we also just want to, please be with our jurors, Lord, and
Yeah.
that they can make the right decisions and based on what they need to know, and that you back them up, and
Yes.
uh, we love you, and in your name, Amen.
Amen. Awesome. Thank you. All right, Missouri Mayhem listeners, as always, we appreciate you so much. If you like today's episode and plan on listening again, could we ask you to do two things for us? Pretty easy. One, please, please, please share our podcast. If you
Please.
know other people, please, please,
Please,
please,
please.
if you will share our podcast with other friends and family members of yours that like true crime,
We'll
if
give
you
you $1,000,000. Just kidding.
we'll put that on our little thing here. We owe you $1,000,000. So if you can share our podcast, we would love that wherever you listen to yours. And you guys, the giving a rate and review also helps other people find us. It's this
Yeah.
whole algorithm online. But if you like, review, share, that would be amazing. So you guys
This has been Missouri Mayhem with Mindy,
and Megan, stay safe, stay kind, and stay curious. Missouri, you bring the mystery.
and we'll bring the mayhem. Peace
Peace out.
out.